Welcome to the Realtors Conspiracy Podcast. I'm here today with Pat, the mortgage cat, with Zoom Mortgages Brokerage in Oakville.
Thanks for having me, Mo.
Awesome,
It's great to be here.
Yeah, I've met you at networking, the business networking group.
Yep.
And then you were very active in the networking, and you're still very active today.
Absolutely.
How many years have you been networking?
Well, I've been networking for all of my business career, but as a mortgage professional, I've been doing that for 3 years, and love meeting new people, love hearing what challenges they're having, and how I can help them. Yeah.
I find when we were talking to you about your business, you were growing it a lot with partnering up with real estate agent, getting relationship going that would help each other. Tell me more about this approach.
Absolutely. As you well know, realtors facilitate the purchase and selling of transactions. We can provide support to realtors in a number of different ways. If a realtor is having an open house, what I like to do is add additional value. So I'll do feature sheets. I'll actually attend the open house with the realtor. I'll help answer any questions of people going through the open house. And what it does is it allows them to focus on the questions specific to the home and not on questions that are a little bit out of their sphere in regards to the financial side of things.
Very good. So you're actually attending the open houses.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then how many realtors are you partnering with right now?
Well, right now I have 4 primaries. There are some people that occasionally call me, but to me, I don't want that sphere to be too large, because geographically what I do is I try and carve out areas for the realtors and have an obligation to them in regards to supporting them and, where at all possible, providing referrals. But you don't want to have lots of overlap, because then it's really not fair.
Yeah, 2 in the same neighborhood, how do you choose?
Yeah, that gets challenging. And what I always do with realtors is I always guarantee them, if anything comes from a transaction. So, for example, we were at an open house and you needed mortgage help. That if, for example, your aunt or uncle is thinking about buying a house, anything that I've done that's connected to that home is theirs. So I make sure that everything that's connected to them comes back to them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you said you support them, you give them referral, but how does that benefit a real estate agent to partner up with a mortgage broker? What are the benefits? Great
question, because there are different ways to go about getting financing. Some realtors will actually have direct relationships with banks. I am a little biased. I think working with a brokerage has a number of different advantages, because as a brokerage, we work with banks, but we also work with monoline lenders and credit unions. So when somebody goes into a bank, the bank has to essentially sell them their mortgage product. Whereas when they come to me, it's much more of a strategic conversation. I'm looking at the type of product they're looking for first. And then once I've identified that, then I look at my lender network to identify who has the best product for them, the best rates, terms and conditions, that kind of thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. What are qualities you're looking for in a realtor to partner up with someone?
That's a good question, because I think a lot of people always look at it the other way. It's kind of like, what is the realtor looking for? But I'm looking for somebody who has a similar communication style.
Okay.
I'm looking for somebody who wants to work as a partner, and you start to create this energy, this synergy in regards to sharing information. So, for example, before I came here, I was talking to a realtor, updating her on, where we were at in regards to the financing on a purchase. I was updating her on a couple of leads she had provided me in regards to where they currently sit, so that she doesn't have to chase somebody down and follow up, and vice versa. When I've given somebody a lead, my expectation is that we understand one another well enough that we share updates so that we're keeping things going.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What would be like action items that when you sit with a realtor, you say we're going to partner up, what are like the first few things you do together?
Initially I want to understand their style. I want to understand how they're growing their business. I like to get on the table what their expectations of me are,
Yeah.
and I like to put on the table what my expectations of them are, so that there's a real clear understanding. And then, you know, what typically happens in any kind of relationship is you try it out, you see that everything's working well, and that you kind of mesh in regards to your styles, and then you build on that going forward. In regards to support, I've co-marketed with realtors. I've done open houses with realtors. I've had sessions, education sessions with realtors. To me, it's about looking at how I can provide additional value to them. And ultimately, from a realtor standpoint, they're looking at it from the standpoint, well, if I give a referral to this person, I want to make sure my deal closes.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they're not putting my commission, my deal in jeopardy because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's building trust and having faith in one another and supporting one another and communicating that builds a good relationship.
Very cool. You said joint marketing efforts. So what would be examples?
I've done some flyer stuff with some realtors and actually gone out and done door knocking with realtors. So, you know, instead of doing that alone, there's both a finance person and a realtor there that can answer questions. I think there's a little bit more power in that. Marketing materials, I've done videos. You know, to me, it really depends on the realtor's approach to how they're growing their business as to how I can support them.
Do you have any success stories from realtors as being in that sphere of like marketing and partnering and networking? Would you help them grow their business?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know that the relationships I've already established have helped people to have very high closing rates. What I make sure of is, and what I promise realtors is, with mortgage financing, there's not absolutes. Lenders and underwriters can be in a certain mood in a certain day, and some things can change.
Yeah.
What I promise is that people are kept up to speed. Mm-hmm. They understand what's going on, and they understand from me what I'm doing about it to solve the problem. Mm-hmm. So in that way, there's no surprises with their client. You know, they hear from their client, oh, there's trouble with a mortgage, Pat hasn't done this or that. They already know in advance what's going on, and they know what we're doing to solve it. So I think making sure people, that communication is strong, prevents surprises, which nobody wants, and with a, you know, from a realtor standpoint, a transaction of this size is a big deal.
Yeah, I find from what I'm hearing that it would be beneficial for the realtor to be more in the conversation, because I've had deals before where the mortgage broker is blaming the realtor, the realtor is blaming the lawyer. Nobody's really in a team.
Yeah.
I found like you built a team that really helps.
Absolutely, and I can tell you some realtors will go to me and say, you know, Pat, just tell me if there's a problem. I don't need to know anything else.
Okay.
Other realtors want to know kind of an ongoing update, where are we currently at. So for example, I have a deal that's closing today. I followed up with another realtor today to say, hey, just letting you know, the mortgage is closing today. Thank you so much for the referral. So now when they have a conversation with that client, there's no surprises because they've been kept informed. They're not going, has this person done this? And when it comes to the blame game, to me that means that there's a problem in communication. To me that means that the mortgage agent and realtor aren't communicating, and there's onus on the mortgage agent to communicate with the lawyer, and he or she should be updating the realtor about those communications. So if everybody's talking, if there's a problem, then you can jointly work on it together instead of going, it's your fault or whatever.
No,
so,
you're right.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you were a realtor, what would you tell a realtor, or if you were talking to a realtor, on how to find a great mortgage broker to partner with?
Brokerage, mortgage agent. I would say do your homework. I don't think you can just look in a phone book and go, well, I got a broker, I'm good to go. There are many different styles that people have. You know, in the case of our brokerage, the broker of record has 14 years of lender side experience plus 9 years as a broker. And as he views all the deals that go through our office, we've got tons of years of experience on every deal to make sure that it's done properly. I'd want to know that the brokerage has been around a while. I'd want to know what their focuses are. Some brokerages don't cover the gambit of lending solutions. So for example, with Zoom, we do both residential and commercial financing, and on the residential side, we do A, B, and private. Okay. So we're like a one-stop shop.
For everything.
If we can't get it done, it can't get done. I mean, really,
No,
that's what it's like. Whereas there are some other brokerages that are very B and private focused.
Yeah.
So, now if you're a realtor, if you had that brokerage with you, then you'd have to have somebody for your A lending and something via private. And I think that developing that synergy and communication style is really important to successful transactions.
Yeah. It helps that you have a more realm.
And asking around and talking to people. I mean, for example, our brokerage is not transactionally focused, and that sounds weird to say, and we do a lot of transactions. Don't get me wrong, but we focus on product type because in our industry, the lenders for A money compensate us in regards to compensate us on closed transactions. And some of them compensate us differently. I know in this industry some people chase the dollar. We chase the product, and if we're ethical enough to chase the product and put the client in the best possible product, everything else falls in line. So I'd be looking for companies and organizations that do that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. As a partner with a real estate agent, you talk about marketing, you talk about videos, what else I think that you can do to generate leads?
Generating leads, I know that I've got on my radar, although I haven't figured out exactly how to do it, looking at webinars and sharing information for people in different circumstances. So for example, this is the year of the renewal. Well, where close to 50% of mortgages in Canada are going to be coming up for renewal.
Really?
So what do people do when they have a mortgage renewal? And what options do they have? Well, of course, their lender is going to send them some info. But if I was them, I'd want to learn to see if there are other opportunities out there for them in regards to that renewal. Or perhaps it's a new home buyers seminar where you have a realtor, a mortgage professional, and a lawyer that partner up and educate people about what they're doing.
So you've done those seminars before?
I've got two that I'm trying to orchestrate. I don't have a firm date yet. We're just figuring out the technical logistics. I'm not a geek, so we're figuring that stuff out. But we're definitely going to do it because we think the more we can educate people on their options, the better they're going to feel about it, and the more trust that they're going to have. Yeah. Right.
What kind of videos have you done? You said marketing videos.
I do personal videos educating my clients about the different products that we offer, about the style and approach. Like we think of ourselves as strategists in regards to mortgages. But I've also, with my network, done videos with people like yourself and or others, interviewing them and understanding what they do to help promote their business to my network.
Where do you meet realtors?
I meet them all over the place. I mean, I'll meet them at events that are taking place. I will visit a realtor at an open house at an appropriate time and introduce myself. But to me, it's really about meeting the right types of people and seeing whether they have a similar philosophy to achieving customer satisfaction and working with their clients. I want to know that it's a good fit for me and a good fit for them. So everywhere. I mean, I could be meeting somebody at a shopping mall. My network knows that I want to meet realtors, and I'm open to that. So I love doing that. And from my standpoint, if I can add value to a realtor, even if they've already got their network filled in regards to the financial support that is required, I'm fine with that because I know eventually they may change their mind, and they may think of me. So I'm happy to help people. Yeah.
Very cool. And then where do we find you?
Pretty easy. You can find me at pat@zoommortgage.ca or via my personal email at pat@mortgagecat.ca. I have my own website, mortgagecat.ca, or via my phone number. My cell is 905-334-6329. So any of those will work.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming today. It was great to hear about networking, partnering up with other real estate agents, and real estate world and
Well,
how you can help each other.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.